ever feel like you've hit a wall by noon, but the day's far from over? Yeah, I've been there too. And in today's episode, we're not just talking about surviving those days. We're talking about simple, doable shifts that can help you bounce back fast. Imagine being able to shake off that off feeling and tackle the rest of your day with more energy, more clarity, and even more joy. We'll dive into 3 actionable steps that can help you get out of a funk in just 15 minutes or less. And if that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of 2 and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. Yesterday was the day that I woke up and I just knew immediately that I was in a funk. There was no explaining why. I just knew it. I knew it in my bones. And I did what I could throughout the day to continue to support myself, even though my family needed me, even though my day was busy, and even though I didn't have a whole lot of time for myself. And by the day's end, as I was thinking about what I was grateful for, something came up that surprised me. And I wanted to talk about it with you here today because I think you'll find it helpful too. I was grateful for the fact that I had spent the whole day continuously supporting myself in moving through what was really hard for me. I really worked hard to move that energy and not take it out on my family or even myself for that matter. And I think a few years back, I wouldn't have had that same persistence. And I'm really happy to be at this place where I know how to recognize when I need to prioritize myself and exactly how to do that, even when I'm short on time. So I wanted to share some of my takeaways from yesterday, but then also just what I've learned about myself over the past few years in hopes that it will help you make similar progress in your own life. I get it. Mom life can be a lot. And that's why I created the Focus Finder quiz. This free interactive quiz is custom made for moms like you who are looking for some clear direction in navigating the challenges of everyday mom life. Answer just a few quick questions, and you'll receive personalized results that showcase your mom's strengths and highlight any areas where you might be struggling. Plus, I'll send you a printable resource that offers simple, effective strategies to help you bring focus to the parts of your life where you need it most. If you're ready to say goodbye to the chaos and hello to ease, then it's time to take the Focus Finder quiz. Head to momlifehandbook.com/quiz right now to take the quiz and get your personalized results and resources today. So the first thing I want you to make sure that you start tuning into is start to really recognize the signs. You know how when your kids are starting to get sick and you just know they're starting to get sick? There's always that like one thing or those 2 things that are a telltale sign that something's coming. For my son, he gets real cranky, like so cranky, and he gets headaches. So I know if he's telling me he's got a headache and he's cranky, chances are he's getting sick. For my daughter, without a doubt, it's an earache first and then she's sick. I just know. And the same thing goes with our bodies. When something is off, whether it's energetically or maybe we're not at peak health, or sometimes life is just really hard and we get into this funk, I want you to start really recognizing the smaller, more subtle signs or indicators that you're starting to get into a funk, or maybe you're already there, but let's not ignore those signs. So I put together a quick list of some things that maybe you've seen in yourself that you could start to really key in on as being indicators that it's time to shift your focus on yourself for a little while so that you can ultimately get back on track faster. So first, you might be having a shorter fuse with the kids, with your partner, or anyone else that's in your life. I know that that's me. I start to feel very overwhelmed by the constant requests from everyone in my house. It overwhelms my body more than anything else. And it wells up inside of me until I can't contain it anymore. And then I just absolutely lose it. I have that short fuse. And so I know though that typically I do not have a short fuse. So if I'm noticing that I am quicker to snap at someone or just feeling really impatient, or I feel that like sensation in my body that I just can't contain it anymore, that's my clue that I am in a funk. Also, you might notice that you carry a lot of the stress in your shoulders or your neck or your upper back. It's like carrying all of your worries physically in your body. So you might feel that right in between your shoulder blades. I can tell you pretty much every time I go to acupuncture or massage, they ask where I need to focus. And I'm like, it's my back. I just keep all that energy right there. You also might be defaulting to shallow breathing. So just pay attention to your breathing. Is it in your belly? Is it relaxed? Or is it really higher up in your chest? That usually means that you're stressed. You want to keep your body breathing in a more open state, a relaxed state, and that's when your belly is really expanding with your breath. You might notice that you have an elevated heart rate. Either you might feel it, or you might even notice it if you wear a smart ring or a smartwatch. It can detect your heart rate, and sometimes you'll get an alert even that says like, hey, your heart rate's a little high there, like everything okay? Another thing you can look at is your heart rate variability. So the lower that is, the more stressed you are, and the more triggered your nervous system is. So you can look into that data as well. You might be feeling really tired, but also wired. I experience this a lot. So I'm physically exhausted, but then mentally I'm amped up and my mind is going like a million miles a minute. It makes it harder to rest, and it also makes it harder to be productive. So it's this really like buzzy kind of state that's really hard to function in. You may notice that you also hold tension in your jaw, or you grind your teeth. You might notice this like in the morning as you're trying to get the kids out the door, or after a long day, especially maybe during your sleep. Maybe you have to wear a night guard. Like that can be a clue that you are really spent. You also may find that you don't really want to engage with your kids or family, that it's hard to feel playful or to want to snuggle together or really spend that quality time together. You kind of have this sense of disassociation, which seems extreme. But I know that sometimes if you are feeling like you just don't have the energy to interact, it can really be a significant sign that, all right, you're in a funk. Let's get out of this so that you can have that real connection again, which will just help you move forward faster. You might also have a heaviness in your chest. It might just be like a slight pressure. It's a real subtle way that the body can be telling you that you're overwhelmed. Even your hands or your feet can be cold or clammy. This is what happens when your body's stressed, because the blood flow is directed to your vital organs, leaving your extremities feeling cold. And then lastly, you might be noticing that you have reduced focus or just that kind of brain fog where you feel like you can't start on that to-do list. Even though you know what needs to get done, you just have a hard time doing it. And it's not even necessarily that you're procrastinating. It's just you don't have the capacity to focus in on it. And no matter what your signs are for yourself, I want you to remember that that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that they are your body's warning signs that, hey, pay attention. It's your body's stress response, and it's giving you information. It's not bad information. It's just information that you can use for good. And I want you to also make sure that when you notice this about yourself, that you communicate with your family. Let them in on what's going on. I know I had that conversation with my kids yesterday. I'm like, look, we have had a really busy weekend. It's been a holiday weekend. I'm really tired. I think I overdid it. I'm hormonal right now. I'm at the end of my cycle. I'm really sorry if I have a shorter fuse with you today. I promise you are a good kid, or even to my partner, like, I really appreciate what you're doing. Letting them know, here's what I need right now. I need extra hugs right now, or I need extra offers for help. That way you normalize hard days and you don't make the people who matter the most to you feel as if they're the problem, because they're not, and you're not either. It's just you have a significant need right now, and it's better to face it head on than ignore it. Now, our second strategy that I love is just tapping into affirmations and breath work. I love this because you can do it in those quick pockets of time where you might only have 30 seconds, a minute or 2 minutes where you can pause and focus on yourself and get just a quick hit of feeling like you can reset to get through the next moment in your day. I did this yesterday. I escaped up to Stella's room to go change the sheets, and I didn't come out until I had had a chance to actually take a breath and remind myself of the things that I needed to hear. Now, my Mom Life Reset students know this, but affirmations, but I want to share this with all of you in case you haven't gone through that course yet. Affirmations are so helpful when you are feeling completely spent and in need of a change in perspective. One of my favorites from the workbook in that course is the reminder that I am not defined by my hard days. You better believe I was tapping into that one yesterday. In case you haven't checked out the Mom Life Reset before, it's my straightforward, simple audio course to reclaim your mental space so that you can be more present with your family and yourself. You can always check it out at momlifehandbook.com/reset. I know that yesterday I was also just giving myself the reminders I needed. Like, nothing is more important than staying patient. Like, no task is more important than being patient with my kids, right? I cared more about that, but I needed to remind myself of that. Also remembering that nothing is urgent. I have permission to focus on just one thing at a time instead of overwhelming myself. Also, I used the breathing strategy of 2 short breaths in, 1 long breath out. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. It sounded like this. And I just kept doing that until my body felt like it just kind of melted and relaxed. It was really helpful. And again, you can do it anywhere. That's what I love. So learn about some breath work you could do, find some affirmations that feel meaningful to you, and just tap into those whenever you need them. Lastly, I want you to make time for 10 to 15 minutes of an intentional break in your day. Sometimes this can't happen till the end of the day, but it's better to do it at the end of the day than to go into your next day not having done it at all. So it's okay if things have to wait till the end of the day. You can get by on those affirmations, that breath work, your mindset, and communicating clearly with your family until you can get to that break. But I want you to remember that, it feels like the days can be really hard sometimes. Like, when do I ever have 15 minutes to myself? But the real question is, can you afford to not take 15 minutes for yourself? Can you afford to have another day where you're stuck in a funk? Usually the answer is no. Time for yourself is not a luxury. It's necessary in order for you to function at your best. Someone told me last week that you have to recharge the battery that powers your family. And I loved that. It was so meaningful. I'm like, that's it. That is exactly it. You are powering your family. It is worth recharging that battery on their behalf, if nothing else. And Mom Life Reset students, you have a great list of ideas for intentional breaks in the section on learning to trust yourself. So go through that list. If you haven't revisited it in a while, there's some great ideas there for some really intentional breaks for yourself. But for everyone who's listening today, I thought I'd share what I did in my 15-minute end of the day break where I focused on calming my nervous system. I set aside some time to just completely focus on my body. I did take a walk around the neighborhood earlier in the day, and I also chose to sit down and just flip through a catalog quietly for 5 minutes. Those were just some quick little resets I did, and the walk was with the family. But then at the end of the day, I put the kids to bed and I got out my dry brush. I did a lymphatic drainage paddle. I just wanted to move the energy in my body. And then I did a really hot Epsom salt soak for 20 minutes while I sipped on some sleep tea. I turned on a sound bath on my phone on Spotify. And then when I got out, I put on a CBD serum all over just to really calm my body and set myself up for a great night's rest. These are things that I have found helpful to my body, but you're going to find that you have your own ways of calming your nervous system or pulling yourself out of a funk. I usually find that my funks are associated with my nervous system being in overdrive, so that's why that's my example. But I'd love to hear from you. Send me a DM on Instagram and let me know when you're in a funk, what really helps you come out of that. Maybe it's spending time with a girlfriend, giving her a call, or, reading a good book. It's different for everyone. I'd love to hear from you. If you had 10 or 15 minutes to focus on yourself, what would you do for that time? What really helps you feel more relaxed and at ease? And as we summarize this episode today, I want you to remember to learn to recognize the signs in your body that it's time for a break. Tap into affirmations and breath work in the moments when you really need that support, and then pour into yourself with a longer 10 to 15 minute break at some point in your day. I want you to imagine implementing this every time that you're feeling off, because it's like having a reset button for your whole day, and it makes all the difference. And remember that if you want more support in instantly lightening the mental load, we can always dive deeper inside the Mom Life Reset at momlifehandbook.com/reset. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead. You've just finished another episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast. Remember to check out the episode description for all the important links and highlights from today's show. While you're there, tap the subscribe button so that new episodes are always at your fingertips. Before you go, I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts about the show. It takes as little as 30 seconds to leave a review, and your honest thoughts help me create a better show and help other moms discover it too. And if this episode really helped you out, go ahead and hit the share button to text it to a friend or share it on social media. You never know who in your life might benefit from a little extra support. Don't forget, there are lots of ways to stay connected beyond the podcast. Head over to momlifehandbook.com for additional resources or to learn about how to work with me. And be sure to follow along on Instagram at momlifehandbook. Send me a DM to say hey or to share your thoughts on today's episode. Connecting with you personally is what I really love most. And just in case you need to hear it today, you're doing an incredible job. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you're here, learning how to be better and do better. Keep working to bring more intention and ease into your life, and know that I'm right here cheering you on. You're creating a beautiful journey for you and your family. I am so proud of you.